Yeah, hey Joe, can you reflect on the trick play call in the third quarter yesterday, please?
Yeah, it was a pretty bad play call. I mean, there's no way to sum that up. And it not even is a bad play call just because of the result of the play, but just I try to pride myself on like a feel of the flow of the game and how things are going. And even if we were able to get that off, and even if we were able to do anything with it, it wasn't the right timing for the play. And I got to have a better feel and understanding. Okay, hey, different D line in the game. Have had their backup D line in the game. We looked that we kind of were going to get, and then boom, as soon as I see that, Van Noy, they're switching their D line. As soon as I see that, I got to get out of the play. So even with all that, but yeah, poor play call, and ultimately kind of costed us a football game right there because you had an opportunity right there to cut it to a one-score game. We were kind of flowing a little bit, so I got to be better.
And what went wrong for the offensive line yesterday?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably me, right? I got to do a better job of putting them in position to have success, right? Like I didn't do a good enough job of getting the guys comfortable in a rhythm, and I made it a drop back game for the offensive line, and I thought they handled it well. I thought they did a really good job on the twists in the games, but um, you know you try to pride yourself on trying to be a two-dimensional football team and being able to run the ball and to pass the ball, and I think reflective on on the game, I think I know I got away from the run too early, and it puts a lot of stress on our guys. Just when you make it, when you're down scores and you think you have to throw the ball, it's never an easy situation. So I obviously have to be better.
Dalton Kincaid, 63% of the snaps yesterday. He hasn't surpassed 50 yards receiving. Is there urgency to maybe get him more involved in the offense from your perspective?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, you have plays up each week. It's a matter of just kind of getting to them, and I have the urgency to try to get. There's a lot of guys that I can name right now that we got to continue to get involved. Because we're gonna need everybody down the stretch, and there's certain things that guys might not be doing right now that we're gonna need them to as the season goes, and kind of vice versa. And so I got to do a better job with kind of everybody.
All right, thank you for your time.
All right, thanks.
Hey Joe, you talked a little bit about the trick play there. How much did the way that the game was going, and I know you guys were having some success there when that play happened, but specifically in the first half with the challenging nature of sustaining drives and moving the ball, how much did that play into trying to like just catch them off guard there in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think that had anything to do with the first half. I thought early in the first half we were staying on schedule on some of the plays, and a couple third and twos that we didn't get. An opportunity to sustain drives that we've been able to kind of cash in the last couple weeks, and those were manageable situations that we got to be able to take care of. And I know we had some later in that first half, some third and longs that make life a lot harder, but I don't think any of that played into the play call right there. But our defense did a good job getting us the ball back and getting it to a potential two-score game, and us to go down and try to get points. And so I think those are the situations that it's not that I just want it back, but I just got to be better in those situations. And there's no one to blame but myself. Again, not just because of the results of the play. Like there's times where you go to the Jacksonville game. There's times where there's a touchdown that I didn't like the play call. And so I got to continue to improve and get better.
hmm in your conversations with your offensive linemen, Aaron Cromer, et cetera, like during the game, after the game today, what was it about the Baltimore scheme that seemed to have that group kind of unable to come up with answers throughout the game?
Um, I don't think it was. Look, they played it. They played a good style of football. They played a good football game. I think I have to do a better job at just putting our guys in better positions. I think it's always going to be about us and being able to adjust. And um, I think it's one of those games that I don't think we had a bad plan. I think the game was called bad, and and I have issues saying that, but I'm full accountability. Like I want our guys to know, like I'm in this with them, and I got to do a better job and hold it to a standard, right? And so I don't think it was. I think it was more us and me than it was them.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, Joe, Josh Reed here. I don't think you guys had a play go for over 10 yards in that first half. I believe it was only 4 for the game. What went into the struggles in trying to create any sort of big plays on a consistent basis?
Yeah, no, I think they did a good job, obviously limiting the explosives, and we had some of the opportunities, whether it was a protection breakdown or missed opportunity and making a catch. We didn't cash in on those opportunities. And some of the style of defenses that you face in some of those, sometimes it's rack situations that allow you to kind of get those opportunities. And just one of those games that again, I didn't do a good enough job of kind of giving those guys those opportunities.
And finally, one more for me. Kind of lost in the outcome of the game is Khalil Shakir setting the NFL record for most consecutive receptions and targets. What's that kind of say about the player that he is and just the consistency that he brings?
Yeah, I mean that's we've been saying all along. He's an absolute football player, and you know where he's going to be. You trust him. He's a baller, and nothing's ever too big for him. He's willing to do all the dirty work in the run game, in the pass game. He doesn't care about anything besides winning, and I think and he helps us win. And he went out there yesterday and absolutely battled and came back in the game and everything. And so kind of speaks to who he is. And and I know he's not worried about whatever record that might be. He just wanted to find a way to win the football game, and I wish we were able to get that done.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you for the time.
Hi, Joe. John Worrell with the Associated Press. How much was yesterday a reminder that the everybody eats mantra has to work for this offense to succeed based on how you guys played in the first 3 games and then how limited things looked yesterday?
I mean, you hope if everyone's eating, then that means that we're spreading the ball around, we're moving the ball, we're staying on the field, we're sustaining drives. I think that was a big issue yesterday, is us being able to sustain. We had too many third downs and didn't execute in the third downs to be able to sustain the drives, and that's something that we try to pride ourselves on. Not only just being in manageable third downs, but trying to avoid the third downs. And we didn't do that. We didn't do it a well enough job last night, which makes it a little tough for everybody to eat when you're not converting and sustaining.
I guess, and just to flip that question upon its ear, can this offense succeed without everybody eating, with maybe one player, taking over the load? Can this offense succeed in that way?
I mean, the offense, in our mind, it's the whole premise of all of that. I know sometimes you kind of get, they might be overboard with it, but like it's more of a mindset of like, hey, it doesn't matter whose play it is or whose game this might be. Like it could be one game somebody might have 10 targets, and the next game he only has 2. It's more of a mindset more so than, hey, in order for us to win, everybody has to get this, this, and this, and this. It's more, all we care about is winning. We don't care about anything else. And I think that's more the premise, more so than, hey, am I getting touches? Am I getting targets? It's more just, hey, when the opportunity comes, be ready for it. Obviously we didn't get it done last night. That's basically it.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, Joe, it's Jay with the Buffalo News. You've referenced, getting everyone involved, several times here. 4 games is not exactly a small sample size, but Curtis Samuel has not really gotten involved, and it's easy to overlook when you're winning by 20 or 30. But when you have a game like last night where, you're looking for somebody to make a play offensively, 2 catches for 8 yards for him sort of stands out. And you've had Curtis before, he's had success with you before. So what's going on with his usage that you just haven't been able to find a way to have him make some impactful plays?
Well, I think, I'd say last night, I can say the same with all these questions. It comes down to me. I got to do a better job. I'd say week 2 and week 3, some of that was just a product of not having to do much after the first half. Or week 2 and week 3. And so some of the stuff, you're carrying it over. And But Curtis has to play more. Curtis is, I have to find ways to get the ball in his hands. Good things happen. Good things happen, and I know that. And it's sometimes plays are called for it, and we have to get out of. There's a couple looks yesterday we had to get out of certain looks. They get the ball in his hands, or you can't always dictate exactly how it's going to play, but good things happen when it is, and so I have to continue to do a better job at that.
You mentioned as part of your answer there that Curtis has to play more. That's something. Again, I know the score is maybe dictated at parts in weeks 2 and 3, but his usage has not been particularly high, through 4 games. So maybe what does he have to do, or what has to change to get him on the field more?
Nothing. I just have to, you try to go throughout the game plans, and and you put tags on certain plays, and you can evenly distribute it throughout the game, but sometimes it has to do with what's getting called, and I have to do a better job throughout the game, just getting him going as it is, but making sure that, hey, knowing the play counts and the snaps and making sure that he's getting enough, because at the end of the day, we're going to need all these guys throughout a season, right? We got a lot of games left, and nobody can be playing too many reps right now, or else, as the season goes, they're going to wear down. And so I have to be mindful of that. But Curtis doesn't have to do anything different right now. I just gotta, I know I have a good relationship with him. He trusts him. He trusts me. I trust him. He's just, I just got to get him going, and I will.
And lastly for me, Keon talked last night about, having the opportunity in the first half that he wanted back, that he wasn't able to make the play, but then he bounced back with a couple of really nice contested catches in the second half. Is that something, I know there's silver linings were pretty few and far between last night, but was that something that maybe he could build on a little bit?
Yeah, no, I think, anytime he has the opportunity to make the play, we expect him to make it. And, those were 2 nice plays at the end of in the second half, giving us opportunities, but that's the expectation we have for him. So it doesn't come as a surprise. It doesn't come as anything where it's like, hey, there's a lot of coaching to it, there's a lot of coaching to him on those plays, even though ones that he made. And so we have high expectations for him, and, there's a standard that we have for him, and, him going up and making those plays is kind of what we expect.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, Joe, I just wanted to circle back on, I know you talked about, that you thought you should have gone back to the run more, and obviously being down, that's hard, but why didn't you go back to it? Was it the matchups? Why specifically did you not go back to it at some point more?
Yeah, I think, you go back to some of the drives, right? Like the first drive, you had some passes in there, and you had, you get to a 2nd and 2, we end up alerting and getting to a run and don't get it. And then next thing you're off the field. The second drive, we were able to sustain it and kind of get some runs off. And, we had a couple penalties that kind of stop you from, we had a run that ended up going to a pass. And next thing you know, you're backed up, and now you're able to pass it. So I come out the next one, trying to get the run game going, go 3 straight runs. We go 3 and out. And so, it's and then the next one, 3 straight passes. It's one of those where it's like, never got into a groove and a rhythm. And then, you came in at halftime, you obviously get a 2-minute drill where, you're not going to get enough runs. Then you come in at halftime, you're like, hey guys, it's an opportunity. Let's try to get into a rhythm, be able to run the football a little bit. And we were able to have some of those on those 2 drives. And then obviously when you call the reverse and we fumble, next thing you're down by a lot. And, that stopped a lot of whatever momentum we might have had it there. And you'd love to be able to continue, kind of running the rock right there. So it's more of a, I know that's a long-winded answer without giving an answer, but I just have to do a better job of, not that I was ever looking at the scoreboard, but know how many drives you got back, and you can still, it doesn't have to be a pass fest, and know how the defense is being played and giving you opportunities to run the ball if you have to.
Are there specific things, like you said, obviously there's things you want back from last night, but what do you take, what lessons, I guess, do you take from it, moving forward? Are there specific, larger themes or things that you can be okay, I can do this differently going into next week? Or is it more just the smaller things?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's things every game, right? There's things came from Jacksonville game that was I got to be better. I think that's the mindset we try to have with our guys. is there's a standard, and we haven't played our best football yet. We have to do that, and I try to pride myself. I'm never going to be perfect, right? Like Josh Allen makes us right. A lot of times our guys make us right. I'm going to trust our guys. But I try to pride myself on seeing how the flow of the game is going, how things are going up front, how the game's being played, and and do whatever we got to do to try to make adjustments to score one more point than them. And we didn't do that, and I didn't do that. And so it's not necessarily a reflection. It's stating the obvious that, when I come back is I have to be better.
Thanks, Joe.
Coach Brady, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports 1080. How you doing?
How you doing, Mookie?
Now, Ravens pass defense was ranked 31st in the NFL up to this point. Being down, 3 possessions there, how come you were not able to exploit that pass defense? What did they do that made you not exploit the pass defense?
Yeah, I think I don't think numbers mean a thing at this point in the year. I think when you're they were the number 1 rush defense and the number 30. Sometimes that just, when you only play 3 games, you might, a team like Dallas in the 2-minute drill, they played a little different defenses. They're going to give up pass yards and teams aren't going to run it. And so I don't think they're the 32nd ranked team. Not to say anything should have changed with our standard and kind of how we were able to complete it. But, I think some of it was just pitch and catch, us, needing to do a better job of, just cleaning up some of the details in the pass game. But I wouldn't, I think to say that, hey, they're the worst pass defense in the league is, I know their numbers say that, but I think everyone just watching, not necessarily that game, but the games before would know that doesn't completely paint the picture.
Right. And we all know that this is a copycat league. And, what was put on display in front of everybody last night, how would you be prepared going forward to make sure that something like that, I can't say that don't happen again, but you'll be a little bit more prepared going forward with it?
Yeah, I mean, you prepare. I prepare every game the same, right? It's, you kind of go through your process and making sure you kind of go through, all the way up through game time about try to sort through all the scenarios. And, I'd be lying to you if I thought that was a scenario the way that was going to play. It played out last night, how it was going to play out. And, I tell the guys all the time, like, if you're changing who you are after a loss, that means you probably weren't, doing it the right way in the first thing. So, like, I believe in my process, and I believe in, the work ethic of our coaching staff and our players, that we'll be able to clean up some of the necessary changes, things that we need to, and teams can copycat whatever they need to. At the end of the day, it starts with us and our execution and our details, and less about the team that we're facing.
Coach, if you had one word to describe that trick play afterwards, that was going on in your mind after the play, what would it be?
I probably couldn't. I probably can't say it on the Zoom.
Have a great week, Coach.
Hey, Joe, you spoke to your play call in last night's game, just the pride that you take in having a good feel for the game. I'm sure the best medicine is a game coming up again on Sunday where you can get back into it. But how can you use, as an offensive coordinator, how can you use a practice week to get back into that groove and that rhythm and that standard that you talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I think practice is the most important thing that you do. And I understand you have pros, and as the season goes, sometimes you might maybe practice isn't, the guys, the bumps and the bruises, but the reality of it is there's zero excuses for anything, but we haven't had any normal weeks. And so it's a great opportunity for us that had nothing to do with why we played like we played, but it's a great opportunity for us to, hey, get back to the basics and get out and have a normal week of us getting after it, practicing the details, going through it all over again. I enjoy practice, and I think when we're flying around and the guys know what we're doing and we're able to practice it, I think everything slows down on game day.
Thanks, Joe.
Thad, we can't hear you.
It's probably a bad trick play.
No, you got me now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, Joe. That was
No, you're good.
you're right. It was a bad trick play. That's on me. You got me on that one. But when you include something like that in a game plan, Sean said it's something that you will discuss with him during the week. Within the game, is that what's the process for wanting to pull the trigger on one of those? Do you talk with Sean or someone else on the coaching staff, maybe between possessions? Is this the right time? Do we feel like we have it, coming up on this possession?
Yeah, look, I think things, yeah, sometimes you talk through hey, you're, in the midst of all the defense is going on. Hey, guys, these are my next thoughts. These are kind of things that are going to be, might come up in the next drive. Sometimes it's sometimes it's hey, just a feel from, I hate to say that, but sometimes it's a feel, there's a couple plays from Jacksonville that I didn't talk about, but as we're kind of going and seeing how the defense is being played and whatnot, it's like, all right, I think we have an opportunity to hit this. And it just wasn't a smart idea. I have the conversation with coach and, throughout the week, and, we obviously have great communication, and he understands, it can't be a, hey, right before I'm going to call every play, coach, are you good with this? There's clock running down. And so, it's the communication throughout the week and the trust. And I just have to do a better job of the timing and the place and the call. There's really nothing else with that.
How difficult is that? Because I imagine when you're calling play to play, you've got a call sheet, you've got a progression, you've got things, what down, distance, time, everything you're thinking about, to be able to get outside of that and say, all right, on top of all these things I'm trying to do every down, I got to have a feel for where I am in the game too. How difficult is that, especially for someone like yourself who hasn't done this job for 10 or 15 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, but that's what I get paid to do. Like this is what I do for a living. I sit there and I picture the game, to try to go through it. Okay, hey, if we get the ball and it's a 1st and 10 in this situation, hey, what am I thinking? And I think there's so much more to a play caller than just looking at a piece of paper and just reading plays. Like there is a flow, and it was poor flow. There's no excuses. I can give the justification of why it was on the call sheet. But at the end of the day, the timing of it was not when it should have been, and it was costly.